Well, hello and welcome everyone to yet another one of my The Flash Season 4 videos. Now, as I mentioned on my previous video on the subject of the 2056 message, on this video I'll be discussing the suggestion that made the most sense to me and which I received in the comments to my first video on the topic. I have already uploaded a video discussing the possibility it's all about Thanagar and the Thanagarian race. Now, they might have been the ones being referenced here, considering they have already been Easter egged on the first season of Legends of Tomorrow. But before I venture any further discussing the second and final option I've got on my hands for now at least, I'd like to remind you that it is always much appreciated if you drop me a like if you end up liking the content of this video. It is also as appreciated if you subscribe if you want to see more of my The Flash, Arrow, Supergirl, and Legends of Tomorrow videos. I would like to remind you as well to click the bell-shaped icon underneath this video if you haven't already. That way you would get notified of my videos as they come online. But circling back to the topic of this video, and as I mentioned on the first video and as some of the commenters agreed with me, the Savitar suggestion when it comes to the 2056 warning message might have been all made up to sweep the whole thing under the rug without it having to be addressed ever again, assuming it would go unnoticed. It could be either that or a total misdirect, but we can probably be 100% sure which one it is, either once the show comes to the end of its run and for good without addressing the message again, or if it addresses it at some point down the road. But until then, all we've got here is our good old minds and brains and abilities to speculate and think of the available multitude of options and possibilities. But here's the theory that makes sense the most so far. On my first video on the subject, the Reverse Fuhrer and Solar Regis both made comments as to how it's all about DeVoe. Now, we all know Clifford DeVoe, aka the Thinker, is coming to the show as the major villain of the upcoming season. I don't really know yet if they're going to make him into some sort of metahuman with the abilities that he otherwise gained with his Thinkers and Thinking Cap in the comic books, or if they're just going to go exactly by the books on this one. But I'm fairly certain they're going to have him bend minds to his will using his mind control abilities. Also, on another note here, they might have DeVoe as a metahuman and play this whole Speed Force storm in a manner that it has given different people different abilities rather than just speed. That way Barry would be the one to blame, as his decision to create Flashpoint in the first place will be the cause of said storm. Think about it, the Speed Storm happened in the first place because of the vacancy within the Speed Force prison, which in turn happened because Garrick got out. Garrick was there in the first place to replace Wally, who was in there because Savitar got out. Savitar got out because he found a loophole when Barry reversed Flashpoint, the creation of which was time meddling by Barry in the first place. It all just leads back to Barry. No wonder they were all angry at him throughout the third season. Now imagine what that could do to Central City if over the course of this one arc he manages to find a way to amplify his abilities to mind control his very own army of metahumans marching all over the place and wreaking havoc. Now that could be referred to as a war as per Barry's message to Rip Hunter. And I'm not saying here that they would call the Legends back to Central City to fight the major villain of the season, but they could do that to stop the disaster of so many metahumans going nuts all over the city and causing destruction in their wake. Now that would definitely make for a good 4-night crossover arc, or even a 1 or 2 night crossover with Legends of Tomorrow alone. This theory would as well make more sense than the Thanagar theory, considering the mind control aspect of DeVoe adds to the mix what could be a good enough reason for Barry to warn Rip against everyone he comes back to when he's called upon to help with the war. Imagine such a crossover seeing DeVoe managing as well to manipulate and control the minds of many of the metahuman superheroes, Cisco, Wally, Black Canary, and Barry. That would definitely explain the part of the message where Barry warns Rip not to trust anyone including himself, rather than just warning him against himself and himself alone. One of the great things about doing such an arc as well is it wouldn't be detached from the rest of the arcs in any of the shows, but at least it would be part of the continuity of the storyline being presented on one of them. That would definitely, and in my opinion, make it a different kind of crossover. Now, as I mentioned in my previous video, I have a couple of videos planned that I will be posting over the next few days. The first will be about the Easter eggs to the third season of The Flash. The second, though, will be about all the plot holes within the very same season, ones that were unnecessary and most definitely need to be avoided going forward in order not to get to a point where the fourth season of the show is as bad as its counterpart on Arrow. Then again, maybe, just maybe, they have a fourth season curse going on within the Arrowverse. But with that being said, let me know in the comments what you thought of this video, what you think of the idea the message could be a warning against DeVoe and an impending war caused by his abilities, and if you think the Thanagarian theory would make more sense. And until I see you next, thank you all for watching and have a wonderful day.